All right, y'all. It's a culture recipe. It's Mo filling in for Gerron. Ah!
Get the real intro.
You going cuckoo crazy sauce right now.
Culture recipe.
Ew!
Culture recipe. I'm Gerron. This is Mo, aka Ranger Rick, aka biggest coon to ever exist.
How am I cool? By the way, I didn't deserve any of that.
You was filling in for me because I was sick. We don't get sick. We don't get tired.
Gotta be Arrowhead.
You're a liar.
What are we reacting to? I'm done with you.
Putting an asterisk.
What did he say?
You can't say English words.
Putting an asterisk on every NBA tire by our guy, Mohamed.
Like, how does YouTube not? All right.
That's what he did.
Hey,
Hey, this is the man who made Skip Bayless react to a tweet of his.
Did he actually?
Yeah, he basically that's when he said Chris Paul called James Harden a fat crybaby or something like that.
Hey.
And Skip Bayless said that on national television.
You gonna pull up the?
I got my host call.
Culture
It's
recipe.
Kim, baby. I ain't got no host.
Low man. At the water bottle. Sorry. All right, let's get into it.
I will show why every NBA championship since 1950, when the NBA was officially
That's your boy. What do you call him?
K Disney.
created, has an asterisk on it and doesn't count. Some titles have bigger asterisks than others, but none are 100% legit. If you get butthurt watching this, then I've done my job. Let's go.
That's
1950. There were only 11 teams, and rebounds weren't even counted yet. Can you believe that? 1951 to 1953. There were only 10 teams. 1954. There were only 9 teams. 1955 to 1961. There were only 8 teams. 1962 to 1966. There were only 9 teams. In 1967, there were only 10 teams, and from 1968 to 1976, half of the best players in the world were in the ABA. So that about wipes out the...
Yo, how would you run the NBA playoffs with 9 teams? Just one is like, all right, you were terrible. You're out.
I think you do. You send 4 teams to the playoffs. That's how you do
trash.
it. Yeah.
majority of
Yeah.
Celtics titles, you're welcome. Now we start getting into the real shit after the NBA and ABA merged starting in the 1970s.
What?
Good job. That's a little Cinder.
77 season. 1977 Blazers. The NBA referees went on strike during the playoffs. 1978 Bulls.
You see a bunch of striped shirts be like, fuck this. Pay me.
Reigning MVP Bill Walton broke his
Your
foot.
guy Bill Walton.
They put the striped shirts on the stick.
It's your guy Bill Walton.
February.
I'm sorry for
His
the
team
pause.
was 50-10, so Washington didn't have to face the reigning NBA champions and the best team in the league. The 1979 Sonics. Seattle benefited from injuries, knocking out 2 Bullet starters, Kevin Greavy and Tom Henderson, in Game 5 of the NBA Finals. The 1980 Lakers. Thanks to a trade a few years prior, LA took Magic Johnson with the first overall pick, despite finishing 47 and 35 the year before. Before the 1979 draft,
Yo, what? You can't do that. Okay.
also won a coin flip over
Bad trade.
Chicago to get the first overall pick. Without Magic, there is no 1980 title, or really any of the
No, I agree. Because Kareem wasn't winning the
The
final.
1981 Celtics. The Celtics got to face a losing team in the NBA Finals, the 40-42 Houston Rockets. Can you imagine if this shit happened today with Twitter for the 1982 Lakers? The top 2 seed.
If LeBron ever, if he win his 5th ring like that, I'm sorry. He's not
It
the
doesn't
GOAT.
count.
He lost to
It
losing.
doesn't count.
He won against a losing team.
That doesn't
but
count.
imagine if he loses.
He's probably-
That's worse than 2011.
He might go down.
I don't even care if he goes
Whoa.
to 7 with them.
For real.
He goes down.
For real.
1982 were able to skip
That's
the
worse
first
than
round. The
2011.
76ers
Big
were a
facts.
number 3 seed, so they had to play an extra series before the NBA Finals, whereas LA didn't, thanks to playing in a far weaker Western Conference. For reference, the Sixers played
That's the only time that's ever been said in history.
But
15
the
games
conference
before the
wasn't that
finals, the
strong.
Lakers
in the
8.
80s.
Nah,
Of
but
course,
that's the only
the Fresher
time
Lakers
it's
ended
ever
up
been.
winning the
Yeah,
series in 6. The 1983 76ers. Instead of winning 4 playoff series like real men, the 76ers only had to win 3 playoff series.
Like
to win
real
it all.
men?
Soft. Also, Lakers star rookie James
They had
Worthy was
Moses
out for the
Malone,
Cubs with an injury.
Dr.
1984 Celtics.
and Chocolate
Lakers Hall of Fame
Thunder.
forward Jamal Wilkes, who averaged 17 points per game in
Monday.
1984, missed the first round of the playoffs with a gastrointestinal virus. He then
Oh.
lost his starting gig and became a non-factor in the playoffs. Despite
Tragic.
this, Boston still barely
Tragic
scraped by
Johnson.
LA in 7 games. It's not hard to believe that with a healthy Wilkes, LA wins. The 1985 Lakers. Boston's Cedric Maxwell, who won the 1981 Finals MVP,
Cornbread
missed 25
Maxwell.
games in 1985 due to knee
Nah.
surgery late in the season and was a shell of himself upon his return. With their finals opponent battered, LA cruised in a relatively easy 6-game series. 1986 Celtics. Instead of having to face their hated rival and 62-win Lakers in the finals, Boston got to play a young and inexperienced Rockets team that caught lightning in a bottle and
Yeah.
upset LA in the Western Conference
Shout out,
Finals. Unsurprisingly, Boston
sir.
beat Houston in 6 games. Houston's 1986 title run would end up being a flash in the pan, as every player besides Keem Olajuwon would end up either leaving or self-destructing shortly thereafter.
Self-destructing?
1987 Lakers. LA faced a bad
You know anything about that? What does he mean self? Is it the 80s because it's cocaine? Is that what it is?
And they were horrible after
Nah.
their careers.
Uh,
Yeah,
injured
that's what you
Boston
mean
team
by
in the
that.
finals and didn't have to deal with lead bias. Boston's
peace.
second overall pick in 1986, who died prematurely before ever playing a second in the NBA. With
R.I.P.
bias on the squad, Boston wouldn't have relied as much on their older veterans like Bird, McHale, and Parrish, and would have had a better answer for LA's James Worthy. Despite this, Boston still took LA to 6 games, but it wasn't enough. 1988 Lakers. Pistons star Isaiah Thomas suffered a major ankle injury in Game 6 and barely played in Game 7, which
that's one of the most respectable things I've ever seen a guy his size do. Anyone do, honestly. That man, didn't he break his ankle? And he played like that?
Hey, this is an argument I use for guards.
Respect.
You can't win a championship if a point guard under the height of 6'5" is your best player, except for 2 players in NBA history, and
This
their
guy-
names are Isaiah Thomas and Steph Curry.
That's it.
Detroit lost by just 3 points. Also, Bill Laimbeer was called for a phantom foul on Kareem late in Game
I
6.
told you that's the worst call in NBA history.
You did tell me about that. You
That
did.
allowed LA to extend the series to Game 7 and
Where
waste
did he
a
foul
historic 43-point effort by Thomas
Nah.
in Game 6.
Where did he
Where's
foul?
the foul?
Magic Johnson blew out his hamstring in Game 3 of the NBA Finals, ending both his MVP season and the
Just
legitimacy
throw a
of-
towel at him.
It's a-
Like, yo, what the f-
He's sitting there crying.
String in Game 3 of the NBA Finals.
Hey, imagine if we were old heads. Oh, back in our day, nobody would get away with doing this.
Ending both his
Throw a towel at him.
MVP season and the legitimacy of the Pistons title. 1990 Pistons. Arvydas Sabonis wasn't playing in America yet, so Detroit avoided him starting
dad, that is?
in the finals. Detroit
No,
also
Sabonis.
benefited from Scottie Pippen suffering a migraine
One of the
in
best
Game 7 of the Eastern
passing
Conference
big men
Finals
of all
versus
time. I heard,
Chicago.
yeah.
The 1991 Bulls. LA's top scorer James Worthy and
This is
top
where people get butthurt.
shooter Byron Scott both got hurt and couldn't play in Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Also, at this point, Magic Johnson probably had, HIV. So, yeah. The 1992 Bulls. Arvydas Sabonis, who Portland drafted in 1986 but wasn't allowed to join the NBA until 1995, was in his prime playing overseas instead of on the Blazers. This is important because Chicago's biggest weakness during their dynasty
Big man.
years was the center position, and
Big
Sabonis
facts.
definitely would have exploited that. It also didn't help that Portland completely shit their pants in the fourth quarter of Game 6
How's that
against
the
Chicago's backup
Bulls'
with
fault?
Jordan on the bench. 1993 Bulls. Chicago got to face an offensively challenged Knicks team in the Eastern Conference Finals before
What?
That won 60 games. How they
Right.
offensively
You can't
challenged
do
to win
that.
60
Right,
games.
you can't. That's because Barry don't like Mike like that.
Yeah, but
He's gonna want anything
hey,
rich.
hey, Jordan detractors, He beat 260-win teams on the way to a chip.
Face a mediocre defensive team like Phoenix in the finals. Phoenix, which had the best home record in the NBA in 1993, went 0-3 at home in the finals, including the decisive Game 6.
So how is that the Bulls' fault?
That's not the Bulls' fault.
That sounds like a plus for them. A team that didn't lose at home, they beat 3 times at home? That means they would have had to lose in Chicago, so they handled their business.
93 is Jordan's best year. You know.
Shot just 5 of 22.
Over 95. 72-10?
He was at his peak
Fourth
powers.
quarter in a game they lost
I
by
think
just
72
1
and
point.
20 is
1994
peak
Rockets. MJ was suspended and off playing baseball. Also, John
Terrible.
Starks was a double agent of Houston, shooting 2
Double
of 18
agent.
in Game 7.
Oh man, John Starks. This ruined that man's legacy. You know that man would have been a New York all-time great if this performance didn't happen. And guess what? The Knicks are sorry, so he still is. My man Greg Anthony, we love you on 2K.
No, we don't. Your
Finals, a
commentary
game
is
which
terrible.
Houston
You don't like Greg Anthony? I
like
like
his
Clark
commentary.
Kellogg.
Oh, that shit's
won by
even
just
worse.
6 points.
2K
1995
commentary
Rockets.
sucks.
MJ came back late.
Nominated Steve Kerr. Come on, Greg
Steve
Anthony.
Kerr was good.
Greg Anthony's funny. They getting house down there.
Like,
what
what
does that
mean?
mean?
Thank you.
But wasn't back to being 100% MJ just yet. So
Right.
Houston got to face a young Orlando team instead
Yep.
of the Bulls in the finals.
But Hakeem
Also, I
cooked
would be
Shaq.
remiss if I didn't.
Yes, he did. That's the thing about Shaq. When you put
Shaq fans, hold up.
a more skilled big man like that on Shaq, he's
If
not
you put
going
a
to win.
Kareem or a Hakeem on
He's
him,
not gonna
he's
win like
going to
that.
get cooked on defense.
Exactly.
He's going to get cooked.
He's a liability in that point.
He's going to get cooked.
Yep. Big facts.
Like what my mama good at.
Nick Anderson missing 4 straight free
Shout out
throws
to
at the end of game
Love you,
1,
Mom.
which would have won Orlando the game and
Hi.
completely fucked up Orlando's psyche the rest of the series, which ended in a Houston sweep. 1996 Bulls. The NBA added more expansion teams in Toronto.
I was the Bulls' fault. I failed to realize one of these has been the team's fault. They weren't cheating or anything. These are just
He's reaching.
These are circumstances that happen around
The
him.
point is, he's reaching. That's the only thing. He's just reaching.
He's funny.
Yeah.
Some of these are funny.
Competition
He's reaching.
even more. 2-time all-defense
He's like Johnson Jackson blew out his hamstring in the fourth quarter of Game 7, or else they would have won.
What was his
Like
name?
who's that? Johnson Jackson, just a random dude.
What's your first name? Johnson.
A Wanami Johnson, bro. Like who is that?
Nate McMillan's back was fucked up, and he barely played in the finals. But most
It's like people blame it, saying like Daniel House. Like, wow, Daniel House, bro.
Seattle coach George Karl inexplicably
That man
didn't
tried to
put
sneak a TikToker
1996
in.
Defensive Player of the Year Gary Payton on Michael Jordan until Seattle was already down 3-0. Seattle went 2-1 once Payton got switched onto MJ full time, but it was too late. 1997 Bulls. Utah flat out choked in the fourth quarter.
That's
of both
not-
Game 5 and Game
That's not
6.
Chicago's fault.
4-17 in Game 4.
Hey, what Jordan say? Nah, Pippen said it. The mailman don't deliver on Sundays.
That was Pip who said it.
Yep.
Nice.
Hey, is Karl Malone ever won a finals game on a Sunday?
He's been doing other things on
The
Sundays.
game they lost.
Continue the video.
What do you mean by
By just
that?
2 points, and 5 for 15 in Game 6, a game they lost by just 4. Also, the NBA was still using the short three-point line at this point. So who knows if MJ still makes those threes late in his infamous flu game. If
Another
it's a
reach.
Real three-point line. 1998 Bulls. Utah choked again in the fourth quarter.
How's that the Bulls'
Shooting
fault?
4 for 15.
Wait, we can't
in a
fuck
game
much
Like
talk
this
about
man,
points. But the biggest
we just went through all
asterisk
6
is
of
now in
Jordan's
Game
rings,
6.
and he didn't come up with a good
He
excuse
could've-
for any of them.
Any of them could have been like he didn't. He only played one top 75 player. That would have been kind of understandable.
Stop it, bro.
But even that's a reach.
An
That's a
obvious
reach.
three-pointer by Utah's Howard Isley was incorrectly waved off, and a later shot by
Whoa.
Chicago's Ron Harper, which was obviously not.
All right,
out of his
now
hands
these are
until
real.
the
Okay,
shot
that's a
clock
good
expired.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Incorrectly
Bad
counted. This
reffing.
was a massive 5-point swing in a
That's
game
a push
Utah
off.
lost by just 1 point. Also, MJ pushed off.
Most overrated play in
1999
NBA
Spurs.
history.
Lockouts.
Was
I
it
think-
cold?
I think the LeBron.
Block. That's
Yeah,
another one.
It's
Yeah.
overrated.
It's a good one, but it's overrated. Just
Yeah.
like this one.
Yeah.
Only 50 games? Seriously? That shit doesn't count. They even got their
Flat out.
Only 50 days.
That's pretty
There goes
whack.
2012.
Finals.
Down there's a
Another
lockout.
lockout.
Their pants and
There was more
shoot 5
games.
for 23 in the fourth quarter to blow a 15-point lead in the fourth quarter of Game 7.
Damn.
2001 Lakers. The 2001 Lakers lost both games to Ray Allen and the top-scoring Milwaukee
Yep.
Bucks in the regular
I
season.
told you Milwaukee should have made it. They were a better team than Philly. The
This
league
is
just wanted
important
Philly to
because
win.
Allen has all but said the Bucks-Sixers Eastern Conference Finals, which Milwaukee lost in 7 games, was rigged so the NBA could get regular season MVP
Right there,
Allen
12
Iverson in the
technical
finals
fouls.
against the Lakers.
Just
The
three.
series which
Just
the Lakers
three for the
would easily
Sixers.
win in 5 games. 2002 Lakers. Facing elimination down 3-2 in Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals, LA took
worst
an
rap game
absurd
of all time.
27 free throws in the fourth quarter of a historically controversial series.
I remember
Also,
hearing
LA
this,
avoided
yeah.
going
Kings.
down
This
3-1
is
by
like a few
getting
months
lucky
before I was
on a
around.
scrum play under the basket
Damn.
that somehow ended up with the ball
Big
being
shot,
tapped
Bob.
out right to Robert Ory, who
7
converted on
rings,
the
the
game
goal,
winner
the
for LA
pair.
as time expired
John,
in
what
Game
was it?
4. 2003 Spurs. Dirk Nowitzki didn't play in the final 3 games of the 2003 Western Conference Finals with a knee injury.
Let me say this: as a
Sand-
Lakers fan, we've had some bullshit rings. We've had some
You
bullshit.
feel me?
We've had some bullshit rings, dog.
An easy pass to the finals where they defeated a weak New Jersey Nets team.
Come on, don't do that.
2004
Jason
After
Kidd
averaging
playing for that team.
18
We like
points per
Jason
game in the
Kidd.
first
Yeah.
round, LA's Karl Malone's knee completely imploded by the finals and was a non-factor. Malone is a
Not the only thing he's imploded.
piece of shit, but Chauncey Billups winning Finals MVP isn't much better in the morals department.
Come on, bro.
2005 Spurs. The
It's
league
Chauncey.
expanded from 29 to 30.
You can't excuse
It's a kid from Denver.
You can't excuse.
That's
it.
all we have, bro.
You can't excuse.
He's
that
the
shit.
only thing we got, bro.
You can't excuse that
Also,
shit.
Rasheed Wallace's massive brain fart late in Game 5 to leave Robert Ory uncovered for a go-ahead three-pointer.
We all knew he
but
was gonna
cost
make that.
Detroit the title, putting them down
That man
3-2,
was a
having
bitch
to go
player.
on the road to San
It was
Antonio for
clutch.
the final 2 games, where they ended up losing in 7. 2006 Heat. Miami
Uh-oh.
took 52 more free throws in this series than Dallas.
Whoa.
An astounding number. Mark Cuban was so enraged, he reportedly put a former FBI agent on the case to investigate. Yeah, moving on. 2007 Spurs.
Imagine being that petty over losing.
A retired FBI agent, bro.
He's like, help, please. Help, police. I got some money.
shit.
Oh, please help. Like, shut up. Go grow up, you billionaire.
For real,
Go,
you got all that money,
go
bro.
sell some computers.
Phoenix's Amari Stoudemire and Boris Diaw, both in their primes,
grab
were
some more sharks
suspended
at that
for a
tank.
pivotal Game 5 at the Western
That was
Conference semifinals for stepping
That was bad. Let's move past it.
Police!
down to the floor at the wrong time
That was
after
terrible.
San Antonio's Robert Ory hip checked Steve
Damn!
to the sideline.
Yeah,
Instead
the
of getting
Spurs-
to face
the
a
Spurs got
veteran
away
and
with one man.
experienced Pistons team in the finals, the Spurs got to face a Cavs team that consisted of LeBron and a bunch of Make-A-Wish kids. 2008
Ah!
Celtics legend and former
I told you, Luka's not the first one to ever do that.
Minnesota GM Kevin McHale called up his former Celtics teammate and former Celtics GM Danny Ainge and traded him Kevin Garnett in his prime. We all know Boston doesn't win in 2008 without KG. 2009 Lakers. LA dodged LeBron, who averaged 39, 8 and 8 in the Eastern Conference Finals, and somehow it wasn't
And a
enough. Of
loss.
the 229 individual opponents that Kobe Bryant faced at least 20 times in his career, his lowest win percentage came against LeBron. LA got to face
But Kobe's better though.
Mentality.
Howard, you know.
Is that?
How's Russ? That's your guy. D Wade. TP. Richard Hamilton.
But rest of the scrub?
Instead, Courtney Lee blew a point-blank layup at the end of Game 2, and Derek Fisher bailed out LA and Kobe in the clutch late in Game 4. LA won the series
You mean he did his job and played basketball?
5, but it was a
I better not hear the Ray Allen shot. The Kyrie shot.
much closer
We're
series.
probably
better bring up some real stuff like
2010
Draymond got
Lakers.
suspended.
In Game 7 of the finals, the Lakers took 21 free throws. in
Fuck
the
it,
fourth
they don't
quarter,
win if
while
he
the
doesn't
Celtics
get
took
suspended.
17 all game. Coincidence? I
That's
think
his
not.
fault.
2011 Mavericks. It's obvious that a Mavericks fan with major mob connections got the mob to force LeBron James to throw the 2011 finals. There's no other explanation
I'm not
for his
watching this
unexpectedly
again.
awful
Oh,
performance.
no!
that allowed
I'm
Dallas
not
to win
watching
the
this
series
again.
in
Tell me when
6
it's over.
games. 2012 Heat.
There we go. Nope.
Hello, go back.
Did not. 2011
Go ahead,
Mavericks.
this is the
It's
funniest
obvious
thing I
that
ever
Mavericks
seen. Look
fans
what's
with
that.
major mob connections got the mob.
Why would you shoot that?
Where's LeBron? It was to throw the 2011.
Like,
I'm not watching it anymore.
look at this. Why would you make that pass? He's sitting in the passing lane already.
For unexpectedly.
Jason Kidd stops you. JJ Barea. They made you miss a layup. But this is y'all goat. This is y'all goat.
Allowed Dallas to win the
Not mine.
Look at it. Clank. Clank.
A lockout season full of broken bodies. Derrick Rose tore his ACL, torpedoing the number 1 seeded Bulls season. The number 2 seeded Heat cruised by default to the finals and took down a young
By
OKC
default!
that never fully arrived.
Who was better than him? Besides the
Celtics
Bulls?
was comparable. Bro, they were down 3-2.
They had a bunch of old people.
They were down 3-2.
They had a bunch of old people.
The old people that can still hoop?
No. Stop it. You talking about the dude that had to go out of the game in a wheelchair because he had to take a dookie? Are you talking to anything's possible except me winning another ring? Or the double agent that was on the team the next year?
Hit play.
Or a guy who can't even hit a jumper and he's a point guard? Or Kendrick Perkins?
They won a ring.
Kendrick Perkins!
Kendrick Perkins was on the
13
Thunder that time.
teams.
Exactly!
In 2012 Western Conference champs OKC traded away future MVP James Harden and lost Russell Westbrook to injury in the first round.
Still don't
Yep.
Paving
No,
the
that
way
matters. Look at that. They're friends now.
What's that?
to repeat.
You bet?
So Ray Allen's miracle shot saved Miami from losing in 6 games in
Yeah.
the finals versus San Antonio.
I
2014
guess.
Spurs in Game 1 of the NBA Finals in San Antonio.
No, hold on. Let me say something about that. People think, oh, he cramped. What a bitch. You
Yeah.
expect you to cramp on? You expect him to play on a cramp?
Yeah. Isaiah Thomas played on a broken ankle.
That's different. You can't cramp and walk. You cannot
You
walk.
can't walk with a broken ankle.
He did it.
No, he
Isaiah
didn't.
did it.
Yeah, because he's tougher than LeBron.
Go ahead.
LeBron, I got cramps. It's too hot.
You play basketball on a
It's
cramp.
too. I did.
While you were cramping.
Yes.
Mid cramp.
Yes.
I'm not talking
Air
stomach cramp.
conditioning.
No.
Okay.
My calf was cramping.
You can
And I
walk
didn't
on it.
have to be carried off the floor.
Malfunctioned
You can walk
due to
on
like
it.
a little girl.
LeBron had to be carried off the floor due to leg cramps. San Antonio won Game 1 by 15 points, thereby invalidating the remainder of the series.
What?
Yes, I'm bummed. 20
One
Ah.
game? One game?
15 Warriors. Kyrie Irving's kneecap exploded late in Game 1 of the finals, causing an already injured Cleveland team to play scrubs like James Jones, Iman Shumpert, and Matthew Dellavedova major minutes the remainder of the series.
Who the hell is that?
Iman Shumpert and Matthew Dellavedova major minutes the remainder of the series.
Ew.
That's Hef Curry right there.
That nigga look like Smokey Robinson. Look at him.
That man's Stefan Barbecue Chicken.
You're an idiot. Press play.
It's Curry in the finals before last year.
Press play.
Somehow the series still went
That man got a body double in the finals.
6 games, largely thanks to LeBron's brilliance. 2016 Cavaliers. Draymond Green got suspended in a
Thank
potential
you.
clinching Game 5, and Steph Curry might have been hobbled, and Harrison Barnes also missed several
Might?
very open shots.
Yeah.
Oh, and you can't forget how Andrew Bogut got hurt early in Game 5 as well. 2017 Warriors. Kevin Durant joined a 73-9 team because of a cap spike, creating a team that was so overpowered they came within 1 game of sweeping the entire postseason without even trying very hard. 2018 Warriors. Chris Paul's hamstring popped while Houston was up 3-2 in the Western Conference.
But
The
James
greatest-
Harden still was choking away.
The greatest team to never win a ring. Right there.
Finals. Houston.
Oh, yeah.
Hot take. Okay. I like it. Though.
Bro, they're a game away from the finals.
Yeah, I agree. That's a
Against the greatest team of all time. The greatest team ever assembled skill-wise. They would have beat them in a 7-game series.
Yep.
That's the closest we got to seeing them get beat fully healthy.
Yep.
and missed 27 straight three-pointers at home in Game 7.
And still only lost by single digits.
In the finals, LeBron broke his hand in frustration after the refs.
Hey, let's replay it real quick. Shoot the free throw.
Bro, runs off. Like, what are you doing?
You don't know how hot I was watching that game. I'm like, come on, man.
Like, I just didn't want the Warriors to win, bro. It's like, oh my god. If it was the Rockets, I probably would be like, all right,
Get out of here.
broken hand. I'm not
Punching a white boy.
I'm not even gonna acknowledge that shit.
Brilliant 51-point
Whenever LeBron losing, he gotta come with a cast. He's like, I was hurt.
in Game 1.
You lost.
Mostly, it's the same as the year before.
I mean, they're gonna lose
Golden
no matter
State
what.
doesn't win without
The double block.
They were a completely artificial dynasty that deserves
Artificial?
zero respect. 2019 Raptors.
Uh-oh.
Kawhi Leonard rested all season and
Bump,
got an extremely
bump,
lucky bounce at the end of Game 7 against Philadelphia in the Eastern Conference semifinals that ended up nudging the ball through the basket. Let's be real. The real asterisk here is that Toronto.
They said a man that in the playoffs almost had 50, 40, 90 splits on 30 a game relied on one shot.
Only beat Golden State.
That might be the best title run we've had in the past 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, the degree of difficulty, even with KD hurt for Golden State,
They were a championship team without
Klay
KD.
Thompson still played 6.5 games. Well, 5.5.
5.5. Yeah.
5 and like 3/4. Didn't he get hurt in the third quarter?
I think fourth. Late.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So he got hurt. And even then, they had to go through Philly with one of the best starting lineups we've ever seen them have. And Milwaukee with the MVP.
Finals because
Pretty
Kevin
good
Durant
trip.
played just 11 minutes all series long, and Klay Thompson missed 1.5 games. A
Oh,
healthy
1.5.
Golden State steamrolls them. 2020 Lakers, a bubble ring. No crowds, no travel, and Miami
Don't
had
know.
injuries
We're
to
just
key
gonna run
players
this
like
through.
Gerron, Dragic, and
This
Bam
conversation's
gave
done to
LA
death.
an easy finals win. And finally, the 2021 Bucks. Injuries to Harden and Kyrie in the Eastern Conference semifinals are the only reason Milwaukee made the finals. And in the finals,
True.
they got to play a good but not great Phoenix team, who were only there largely thanks to injuries to LeBron, Anthony Davis, and
And
Kawhi
Kawhi
Leonard.
Leonard.
Just a massively injury-tainted postseason all around. Even though I just spent the last 10 minutes or so invalidating every single NBA title that's ever existed, just remember, every single NBA title ever is more valuable than any of Tom Brady's Super Bowl rings.
Oh my god.
And the 2022 Golden State Warriors invalidate their title.
I can't. I can't. With his logic, Tatum choked.
Yeah, wait. No, they got to play Luka and a bunch of remedial kids
Nope, we're done. Culture recipe. I'm gonna say this, but
in the
bubble
conference
ring.
finals.
If your team won, you would have been happy. You know it.
Hey, the
Those-
ring don't count. Whoever won it,
You lying to yourself.
it don't.
It does.
It don't.
Culture recipe, power to the people.
How did the people?
Ring
It don't
counts.
count.
It counts.
It don't count.
It counts.
It don't count. It don't count. It don't count. It don't
17.
count. It don't count.